Hi, welcome to Universal Interiors. This is Leslie Ingolstead, and I get to make something in the kitchen today. One of my favorite things to do is be in the kitchen making treats. One of these days we're gonna do more of a meaty meal, but today, yes, it's with chocolate. Although I'm keeping peanut butter out of the recipes for those of you that don't think I know how to make anything without peanut butter and chocolate. Today it's called Butterscotch Banana Bars. And it's one of these great cookbooks that you pick up from the churches along the way. And I've made it so much I knew right where to go to in the corner. This particular one has to do with, it's kind of almost like a banana bread. Anyhow, what I'm going to start with is this big old pan. This is a 15 by 10. So those are a little bit harder to find sometimes. I'm going to just do a quick spray. And you can do whatever kind you want to, of course, with it, or the old-fashioned rub in grease. But I chose to do this little organic olive oil. So this is my pan that we're going to work into eventually. I have taken a half a cup of butter so far, and I melted it up. If you have it room temperature, always that works great. And then we're going to go with the first thing is got a half a cup of sugar. So here is about just that. And I always just do the bulk. So half a cup of sugar, and then the other part of it is 3/4 cup. So this is your handy dandy half a cup, right? And I don't pack it. Usually it comes out pretty fair, even if you don't pack it. It says 3/4 cup packed, but now as you can see, I just kind of fill up about half of the half, hence 3/4. So that's what I'm going to start in the picture today. Right there, we've got butter, white and brown sugar. That's probably where they got the butterscotch from, because it's a little bit more of a caramel to the base. So we're going to stir that in. Isn't it amazing? You can't see it right now, but it's such a great... People say that cookies and baking isn't good for you, but the whole time, if you hold that core of yours in, you'd be so amazed how strong you can get cooking. As long as the core cooking. That's what I think we should call it. Core cooking with Les. Yep, that's it. So here we got just that beginning, right? Brown sugar, sugar, and butter. Next thing I'm going to grab is 2 eggs. For you that are fortunate enough, have eggs, like many that I know, have eggs that you can, oh, we've got a little bit of a frozen egg today. You don't get those if you have eggs from the garden. I mean chickens, or whatever you call them. There, hope that's better. Second egg. So I got 2 eggs going in there, okay? Hi, Kizzy. And so we're going to stir those up. And you always try to beat those little eggs up first. And we got that going on. I'm sorry that Kizzy wants to be part of it today. Shh. Now, the 2 eggs, that's pretty normal. Oh, and I'm going to grab a little bit of vanilla. Just a wee bit of that, and it's about a teaspoon or a splash, however which way you want to call that. So I'm going to splash that little vanilla in there. So again, just like you're making cookies, basically, your sugars, your butters, your egg, and your vanilla, right? Then we're going to take and add to this, I've got flour right in front of us. Again, I just do the bulk because I try to do, actually with this one, I've got like a little bit more of a wheat, a little heavier, and then another kind of a white flour, because in baking I really try to do a little bit of blend, but you can't do too much of that whole wheat in the recipes that I give y'all, just because it gets too heavy. So we're going to call for 2 cups flour. Okay, there's 1 that I've done, and this is the way that I do it. Seems to mostly work out, but we gotta, you know how you mix your little salt and soda. So I'm gonna take a salt shaker and give yourself a couple little shakes, or about a half a teaspoon. And then I also have some baking soda. I use a kind of a bulk baking soda. So I'm going to take a teaspoon of that. Now, as you remember, I just put in that 1 cup, but I'm going to just do this second cup is going to have my teaspoon of baking soda, my salt, and then I'll mix that up. Okay, so generally you want to mix all that up together. And I have on top that other cup, so I just kind of layer it on this. Before you mix it in, can you just kind of take it a little bit and mix it around so that no soda just gets in one place? I think mostly y'all understand that. Okay, so I'm going to do this with that. Now, I've gotten 2 different ways you can do this. This is kind of that, like I said, more of a cookie style. I do have bananas to see, add to it, and milk. The recipe calls for a 1/2 cup of buttermilk or sour milk. So what I'm going to do is grab this milk and vinegar. And you may know this too, but we have a great way of making buttermilk if you don't live on the farm. You can just grab yourself, and I said 1/2 cup, so we're going to go there about, right about there I believe half is. And I'm going to take that vinegar. And what you do basically is spoil that milk up a little bit. See, just I would say maybe 1/2 teaspoon, a splish, and then a splash. That makes for, now kind of has become not regular milk. The recipe says sour or buttermilk. I definitely have soured this milk up. Okay, so I'm going to take that milk and my bananas and add to this. Okay, so I might give myself a little bit of this first. Get that milk put down in there. Two ways of doing it. Like when I make banana bread, I'll usually do all that banana right when I do the sugars, but today I'm just going to stir that milk on up. And I'm one of those cooks that try really hard to just look at the consistency, not just what the recipe says, because I've taken two. It calls for very ripe bananas. My beautiful friend Rain and I helped ripen these up. So when you open these things up, and you may have already done this in your past, I haven't done it quite to this degree, but we basically squished them right on in the banana, so they should be, look at that, isn't that great? Ripe bananas before our eyes. Sometimes this works. The reason I love this recipe is because you got that extra banana that you haven't used, and you're like, oh, what can I do besides banana bread? Yep, it's true, you can make a bar, because who doesn't like bars? If you're a Minnesotan, you better. So I'm going to put that right on in there. Now we have two very ripe, which, like I said, we did a hand ripe by just squishing up the banana on the side. If you're ever wondering, oh, I need a banana riper, just squish it up and you got yourself a ripe banana. So now, see that consistency? That's getting pretty good. So you have the bars. I am thinking with this recipe, what better way to create a better banana bar or bread than add chocolate, huh? We're gonna take dark chocolate, and I'm gonna say about 1/3. I'm going to take milk chocolate and semi-sweet, and I'm gonna add just the same. Again, let's call it 1/3. Watch it go into the 1/3 cup. There it is. And we got one more, and we are basically ready to put this in the oven. So we have got the chocolate 3 times. You can use 1, 2, or all 3. See, stirring them up. Into my pan it'll go. And voila. You will have this pan, these bars, and in about 30 minutes you're going to have a great treat. Call it bread. Okay. So now we've got the bars out of the oven. And you can see just a little bit how it pulls away. The recipe has a big old stretch of time, 30 to 50 minutes. So I guess depending upon your oven, but as it pulls away and the smell happens, you know it's done. So what I'm going to do now is powdered sugar. That's just a little addition, just because there might not be enough sugar. Besides that, it's awfully pretty. So you see I'm just scattering that all over the bars, a little bit like this. Okay, and then you can just cut them as whatever way you'd like to. I'm going to just kind of cut them straight down like this, and it's, again, I think you'll really enjoy them. They can be served warm right out of the oven, or cool them off and share them with your neighbors, because it makes quite a bit. Okay, I sure hope you enjoy. And again, anytime that you need to hear how to do these, make sure you give us a call or email me if you have a recipe you can't wait to share. Okay. Again, thanks for joining in. See you next time.